Thank you.
start? So good evening one more time, everyone. Thanks for joining us again for this second discussion of the SAP Analytical Cloud. On Tuesday, we went over an overview of the SAC features, and we did some hands-on practice for create a data model while comparing modeling and data sets. We also get some initial idea and feeling about the data analysis and the visualization using the story function under SAC. I did a little bit of demo on the GeoMap time series of analysis. If you watch my recordings under the Blackboard Ultra, the one Dr. Desai mentioned, and you also can see the variances analysis, like the cost revenue variances, and also some like waterfall charts and additional visualizations. And you also can try something by yourself, is in the handouts, but I don't have to do all of them, but you can try by yourself, such as the linked analysis or conditional formatting. I believe as you practice more, like in the beginning, I also got very frustrated because like this, for me, continue, I feel is kind of different from Tableau or Power BI. For those two, I can get started very quickly and get into like, because it's following kind of my regular logic. But this one, as I practice more, I love it more. And because that's really not only you are repeating what you have like learned, is give you power to do like something of your own. So push you think, like ask meaningful questions, and what's the best way I analyze the data, and also give you automatic like this machine learning smart features is really assist us dig deeply into the data. So that's like I will show some of the very impressive features from the SEC. They call smart features of the analytic cloud, including natural language search using a smart insight on one single variable. So it means we can drill down, for example, the revenue by the region, and then revenue by the categories, and then by the different bicycles. So you can drill down and unlimit it, okay, to the level you want. And we also can do a smart discovery, means the SAC give you a full recommended analysis for your entire data set. So it's very impressive. Initially, if you got some data set I'm not very familiar with, right? So I don't really know where I can get it started, how I relate the variables together. Then you can use a smart discovery, get some brief idea, like the influencers and how, so what model I can run, classification or time series or regression. So the SAC will give the best approach, okay, based upon the system. So it's give you some idea. You can start with your data and dig deeper in the future. And then finally, the predictive scenarios. We already see something on time series. And today I will focus on the regression, and I will leave you one access on your own to do the classification. Because for classification, the only thing different is the target, right? So we are looking for a target variable, yes or no, true or false, or some categorical. But the regression is you are looking for some continuous variables. And this, I get a little bit of adjustment for the assignment. I was really unsure about your regular working load. So I was like talking with Dr. Desai later afternoon. So did I give you too much or something? Dr. Desai said, oh, just to give them, they need to work. They have good like working like ethics and they can do. Okay, I said, then okay, I put my heart like then. So I adjusted. So those are related to the day one. Most of them I already have the demo videos, or I will have the demo, but some of them I intentionally leave it, okay, to you. So you can use what you have learned, but employ your creativity, okay, like your problem solving and creation into generate some of your analysis. But whenever you have questions or problems on like have some bugs in your analysis, just email me, okay, like so we can make appointment to discuss it. So any question before I go back to the SAC? The data. We are going to use two different new data sets, very similar to the data we use to build a model, but this one is we don't need to have really a model. I will use a data set because for regression and classification, we only can use data sets. We don't need that schema structure. It should be a plain table structure. I guess probably. Okay, I will just stop this and share my, which I believe I still logged in for. Because I was checking some of my stories. But let me show you quickly. Okay, I did some additional exploration for the data yesterday and today. I've really found like more interesting features because right now is on. Okay, when you open your story file, okay, normally they put on view, like means like how the presentation will look like. If you want to go back to your like construction, so you go back to the edit mode. Okay, so that's like sometimes you may say, oh, I lose all of the pages I created. Is not losing because they are using a presentation mode. So go back to the edit. I'm just to show this is the map we did. And I believe this is the time series. Okay, you can adjust from here. Loading the data takes some time. And I did. This is a clustering analysis, but because I relieved the data, but the original one will follow my original demo. You will create all of these gross margin ratio, revenue, and cost. So on a chart with all of the bubbles. You even can group the bubbles based upon the magnitude of the gross margin. So we have revenue on the X and the sales quantity on the Y and the gross margin in the middle. Because right now I'm limiting some of my customers, but the original data, you will see all of the bubbles across the panel, in these parts. And I believe this one. This is something I really like. In my original handout, even like our instructor from the faculty training, she didn't give us the step by step. They just showed us the final outputs. Oh, this is something on your own. Can you replicate like these charts or tables? So given the outputs. So I tried different ways. For the left one, I tried all of the different charts type and found it eventually they call Marimoto something. So like the colorful. I like this. So this is a discount percentage per sales organization and the city. Okay, that lots of fun. We'll play on these different charts, and this is a gross margin ratio depending on the category and also related to the years. Okay, this is only partial, but if you can expand your panel, so you will see all of the years and by customer, the gross margin. And finally, I did this waterfall. This is also a nice feature, especially from our accounting background, right? So this is your total revenue. And if you made a waterfall chart, you can quickly see the percentage of the cost or like a portion of the cost as compared to your revenue. How much the cost take up your total revenue and how much the discount. The discount is only like a very small portion of the total revenue and how large, like how high the final gross margin. You even can input your final net income and other expenses into this waterfall is really give you a segmental idea, right? So for the total revenue, it's like a vertical analysis when you do Excel. So how much percentage for each of the cost and expenses as compared to the revenue, and how much is my final net income. So that's a much better interactive way to looking for your final income statement. Yeah, I like this a lot. But anyway, okay, just to show what you can do later when you create your stories. So now I will go directly to today's data and the smart features. So close this. So discard the
By
change.
the way, one of our group members, one of the groups did the waterfalls chart using the Google
Mm-hmm.
Charts. Which group was
Right,
that
right,
group?
yeah.
Do you recall,
Mm,
Robel? Which
mm,
group was that?
That was my group. Brandon had the
Oh,
waterfall.
there,
mm,
your group, right? Waterfalls
mm.
chart. So you see how useful it is now. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
but so depending on the field, yeah. So it's like a
Yes.
whole and a part, right? So you can see this.
So they
Uh,
are familiar
so
with it as that's one. Okay.
right, that's great. So this time when I do today's smart features, I'm going to use a new data set, like the Excel file, which I also posted in day 2 materials on the Blackboard, the global bike sales Excel. So I'm going to import, even I already have that file in my, the SAC. So you just found the location, maybe to, so this is a global bike sale, similar to the one we have for using the analytics. The only thing different, I believe, is the only thing different is we have separated data variables. We don't need to connect them together. So we have separated year, month, and day. And then I have additional financial ratio is a gross margin ratio. So we can use it directly in the prediction and also the smart features. And while it's loading, maybe I can, since I already have the data set, probably we can go, I can use my prior data, but that's, I'm just showing you the process again, okay, for importing this new Excel, but as a data set, not a model. I don't need to do any data transformation or wrangling for this data file. So I directly create as a data set. You also can use the data set into your story analysis directly. Okay, not necessarily be a data model. So import it. And once you finish the importing, you will see this new data set appear on your current data set files. So that will be the finally it will be imported here. Then I think I will just do I need, oh, it's coming. Okay, then. So similar to the model, they first will show you a sample of your data set. You see we almost have the identical columns. The only thing I don't need to connect them together, so leave it as separate. And if you scroll down to the very right, we have a gross margin. Okay, this last one. So gross margin ratio is a data variable we don't have in the data set we used on day 1. So I'm going to close this and no manipulation. And you also can tell for data set, mostly you only can view it, but you don't have lots of power to change or transform it, which is only a feature for the data model. So I'm going to close and so save. So I don't really think I did something change the data. We just view it. And now I will go to my story. So we'll show the first 3 features, like the smart features using the story, and then we'll go to the predictive scenarios separate. So first I'm going to create a new responsive. So use the classic. And again, when I open the story, it's not linked to any data yet. So I'm going to the data tab and use the, I think, data source. This one. I don't need to create, we just. Oh, not this. Oh, here, like I keep thinking this is a model, but it's including your data set also. So from a data set or model, I will select the other model. It's not really a model, it's only the data set, which I name it. So if you remember, okay, this is the one, I have a few older ones. And this is the newer one we just imported. It's showing as a data set, but not really a model. So they use the image for the model in the beginning is make it like kind of confusing. So, but I will just choose this one. And it's showing something similar, like you use a model. That's a preview for all of your data, all of your measures and the
So can I ask you
dimensions.
a question, Dr. Wang?
Yes,
So in that opening, when you had a choice of document or model or the data, don't they have a
right, right.
context-sensitive help when you move your cursor? Does it not tell you what it is? I did not notice that. I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, so that's like a thing, like they put one icon for both the data set and the model.
Yeah,
But when you click on that, yeah, when you click on that later, you have the model and the data set choices.
but they should put it right when your cursor goes there. They should have a context-sensitive help or
Yeah. They said I ignore, I omitted, but they said get it from data set or model, so you can know both can work.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
But when you're only looking for the image, I keep thinking it's a model, right? Because that's a model image.
That's what I thought too.
Uh,
Okay, thanks.
right, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, okay, just to check your data, like you see here, I have a very clear table structure, no hierarchies, no grouping, and no properties. Okay, just the plain data I'm going to use. So I go back to the story. The first smart feature I want to show you is this natural language search. So even before, you just use your like natural language, ask some meaningful questions. So they call like a search to insight, right? So not the regular search, but this the like this like lab. So search to insight. So you can click on that, and they will pop up the place you can ask some questions. So I will just ask, for example, why is oh, it's still loading, right? And after it's loading, because they need to make sure the data is available. So ask you, I can just very randomly, okay, I said maybe total revenue. Now they already give you prompt by different dimensions. I can do maybe by country, and you can see even they give me division. Okay, I like the first one. Okay, I want to see how the revenue can be explained by country and division. So 2 dimensions. So I will click on that, or you can just do enter, I believe. So they can start the search and create. So they will give you some initial suggestion. Okay, like this is by the country and the division. We only have 2 countries, the German and the US, and the different divisions, accessory and bicycle. Like, oh, if I want to change, I want to give more like variations, I can do like country and customer description, or I want to do maybe the product. So you can they can do product description. Okay, all product category. I will choose the product category this time and click on enter. It shows me a better, right? So I like this better. Then I can copy directly to a current story page. So copy to a new responsive page, because right now I have not on page 1. But anyway, okay, you can choose your the destination, and then now you can close. So if you only want to do this one, I will close the search, and see this chart is already placed on page 1 of my story building. You don't need to do anything. Okay, just ask some basic question. I like this a lot. I heard about this natural language in this data tools. I didn't really understand, okay, how it can be useful, but this is the time I practice something. So this is something like you can create and get some idea, okay, and later you can do another smart search, okay, build more charts. And now how I can use the smart insight or insight. So insight means I can drill down one variable. Like this chart, I want to drill down more, want the system give me new insights based upon their understanding of the data. So I can click on this more and run this. So add smart insights. Smart insights normally work on a particular chart or table we created. Is not working for your entire data set. For the entire data set, we want to use the smart discovery later. Okay, smart insight is a drill down for one particular variable or one particular chart or tables. So I'll click on here, and they will run the insights automatically and waiting for the output. So basically, they're trying to test the contribution. For example, among all of the product categories, let me enlarge this. And probably I can delete the second if I don't really need use. So if you only need one panel, right? So we want to like make it a one panel larger size, you can remove the second one. So you have all of the space, and now you can make your the chart larger and easy to read. So you can see for all of my product categories, the US, the touring bicycle, have the highest revenue. Okay, they already analyzed the final result and is above 146, above the average of the whole category. And the professional touring bike is the top product description contributor in this. So among this touring bike, and then the particular bike, okay, is the more contributing factor. And if you want to explore more, so you can click on here, view more, and they give you more information regarding to the insight. And just wait, okay, a little bit.
I assume that in a story you can have a couple of pages of say responsive and some pages with canvas only. Can you have that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, depending on your preference. And even you have the grid option. I don't really know what that grid option, but you can have different format like the page size. Okay. So refine, not always like responsive.
So guys, what you can do is you can try some things out. You know, this is just one way, and then you can play with it. The more you play with it, you'll learn more. Just like when you are using the rapid miner, there are so many things you can do with it. So same thing about this tool also. You can do all kinds of things really, depending upon what problem you are trying to address and what are you trying to present to your audience. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true. That's basically when I taught my Tableau to my undergraduate students this morning. Because the real learning happens when you try different things, even by making mistakes. every time I'm trying to like recording a demo for the same practice, but every time I do the demo, I do it differently, because every time you do, you have some new ideas and new thinking. So you really learn during this process. I think like Dr. Desai had a very good point to make it here. So in the beginning, maybe you are trying to follow my demo for 1 or 2 of the practice, then you really later on, you can really try something by your own. But looking for this smart insight, getting back to here, and if you click on view more, and they will drill down even deeply to the different bicycle categories. And for your product description, okay, they create another chart. And even they have this average sales revenue per description. And if you like this idea, like continue to drill down, I can copy this and to page 1. So as an additional chart, okay, to my original. Oh, this coming to like a new page. Did I do like a new page? But anyway, so if you want to move to the prior, I believe I did it here. Oh, I put it on page 1. Okay, it should be like page 2. I thought, but this is where the new charts show. And I believe you can copy, like, okay, if you like it, you can copy and paste to the original. But when you originally build, you always can put them together in the same page or separate page. But I'm just showing you the process. And right now I give on this, even like if you want to dig even more on this, like different levels, I still can click more and do
Did that
another round of.
overwrite on the page 1 that you had earlier?
Yeah, this one, because they initially put my the original charts on page 2. But when I added this new charts, I said, okay, copy to page 1, so it's separate now.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
So there
but
was
this is
nothing
my
on page 1
original. Yeah, I
before.
thought it's page 1, but it's actually this is my original. Did you see?
Okay,
Yeah. So let me like maybe just I think I can do it one more time. Okay, so we will put it on the same page.
I thought it overwrote on the page 1. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, that's like I keep thinking this is page 1, but this is actually page 2. So every time you even run the demo, you run into different problems. But this can what we just did, but this time I will copy to page 2. Okay, I believe it will show in the same page. Now it will edit here. It is better, right? So it's like continuous drill down. I'm squeezing a little bit. So you can explain this is my first chart and additional drill, and then I can drill like asking more insights from the system, okay, from the second chart, and they will analyze even more. So what's the contribution for the touring bikes, because like from chart 1 I see the overall category touring bikes, and then chart 2 giving me two different type of touring bikes, and they show me like this bike silver like and other, and then I can ask show more, so to see whether I have more charts I like to add to this analysis. So they will drill down the data automatically. Okay, and now they drill down this time to the level of location, okay, or the city. So for all of the touring bicycles, there are different sales by the city. So if you like this, and again, you can copy to the page. And right now, if I finish, okay, close. See, I have all of the 3 nicely charts built. I didn't do most of the stuff. Everything is done almost by the system. I only chose my interested variable or target variables in the beginning. So you can use these features, or you can adjust the analysis. Okay, so you can adjust the styling or the level or like the variables, and maybe adding filters, adding like the range. So different ways you can enhance your analysis by using the smart insight. So that's only for one type of charts or specific variables. Questions? Or do you think like, so what the system can do? So that's something we can get automatic help. Questions or comments? Yeah, even comments. I will let you try. Okay, like when you try it, and you will feel more like how exactly this will be wrong. But you can choose some variable different from mine and let the system explore. So I'm going to close this because for smart discovery, I need to open start a new story. I couldn't add. So if I add a new page, I only have the responsive, canvas, and grid. I don't have the smart discovery option. If I want to start a story based upon discovery, I have open a new story. So I will close this.
I'll give you one. I have one comment for the students
Sure.
in general, and something that I practice, that if I'm going to be creating something like this, I'll first sketch it out. I'll just write down my story, exactly what I want to do, completely, and then you start putting it into the system. That will be a lot easier for you to follow
Right.
through, because you have
Yeah.
already figured out your story when you are writing it, and then you implement using this. It will make it easy for you.
That's true. Yeah. Also, maybe after you run, what's the insights you got from here? You can jot down some notes, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't forget it. And after you finish the whole project, you compare, okay, what I really input, what I got, then what's the best way. So you can pick and choose the best way to present and do the project. Uh, so I will close this. Okay, I don't want to save the change. Okay, so just discard it. And now this time I'm going to do a smart discovery. Okay, to see how the system can do a full data set automatic analysis. So we are going to use the same data set. You need to pick a data model or data sets, okay, from the beginning. Even it's asking model, you always can use your data set. So I'm still going to use the same one, this global bike sales. And this will be the interface. Okay, this time they are not asking you you have all of this like a file, insert, right, the functions, grid out, because you don't need to do anything, just specify your target variable and independent variables, and they will run the system for you. And why, based upon the videos I watched from YouTube, our academic version, or maybe they see the early version, something a little bit different from the real business version of the input page. But I think the result will look like, okay, much like the business, because I believe what they have, you can, like they ask you, okay, what do you really want to do? Okay, you can type a question, but here is asking me to pick my target variable. This normally will be your dependent variable. It can be a numerical value or can be a classification, okay, like a variable, yes or no or true or choose. I will pick this one. So sales quantity, right? So I want to predict my build a model for my sales quantity, like using regression, for example. So we can compare what the system do from the smart discovery, from the real regression we create later by ourselves. Okay, how the model will be different. So I will pick sales quantity as my target, and then you can pick all of your dimension variables. Dimension means your independent variable choices. Again, you don't really need to follow my pick, right? So you can try your own. But for me, I will pick something I think can explain the change on the quantity. I use city, customer description, and division, product description, and the sales organization. Okay, only how many, like maybe 5 of them, right? So you can try add more or like use less. But if you only use one dimension, the result wouldn't be really helpful because it's hard for the system to identify a meaningful model. So at least I believe you need to choose 4 or 5. Okay, that's a reasonable number of the independent variables. And you can preview your choices or you can run it directly. Okay, it's showing me my target variable and my dimension variable. So you even can add filters. I will leave it as it is and then run it. Again, it takes a little bit of time to for the system to get the result. The larger the data, the more time it will take to run the smart discovery.
I like the logo here. They are saying the data is going in and gets processed, and then final result comes out here.
Right. Yeah, the machine learning, right? So, yes. So as a system developer, in addition to the real like this structured data, you also need to think about the image, right? Like these things. So user will like it also.
This is like automated, actually. This is an automation.
Yeah, automation like machine learning, like allow AI.
Yeah,
So
at
you can
one time
name
we
it,
did not
right?
have this. Back in 80s, I had to do this
Right.
myself. Now it is machine is
Yeah.
doing it. So you
Yeah.
can see the
So
difference.
after we check this, we will create our own regression. Okay, like I'm saying, oh, that's a system, but I want to run my own model. You always can do it. So it's present for the smart discovery. Normally they have 4 different functions, and this is the overview because I'm analyzing the sales quantity, right? So they give you different visualizations on the overview page. That's like your dashboard. So you have the total sales quantity as a numerical point. If you remember the chart type, this is numerical point. And then we have some additional values related to the variables. And this is a sales quantity distribution based upon your grouping of your independent variables. So you can see sometimes if you have like you may have a bell-shaped distribution, but this one we have like a tile, right? So this is the most frequent, and you have like they have the total number of values. So we have most observations here. Then the next group 190, then 9980. So the majority of the data you can see is distributed in the first, like the area related to the first bars.
So if you
So you have
click on one of these bars here, Dr. Wang, this number will change here, right?
Right.
Can you click on
And
one of them? So it's like,
right, they give you like the range, the data
yeah,
of
if
your
I click on
range
say
and the
266, what
observations.
will happen if I click
Right.
on it? Did you click on it?
Oh yeah. If you
Yeah,
you
but
can
this
do
number did
filter
not
things.
change here, the total sales count.
Right. Yeah, but you can do filter, but they give you this influencer additional analysis later, like in the key influencer, and we
Okay,
also can see more charts in the bottom.
yes. Oh, there.
But
Okay. That's what I'm
yeah.
wondering about. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, but here, when they organize this distribution, did you see here they call like 16 beans? So means when the system analyzing this, they put all of your observation like a grouping. My understanding for the bean is like group all of your observations into 16 groups. So now they summarize all of these beans, and you also can have like a if you really have some data variable, if you have a time series like seasonal change, they can add a time series of data analysis directly normally under this like location of the table. But we have here the months. I don't know, they can swamp, right? Like swamp the X and Y axis. I haven't explored it whether I can transpose my like Y and X because they are putting months on the Y and the sales quantity in the X, I really want to switch, right, to the other way around. So you can try, maybe like you can find more interesting thing than me. And then finally, this is a bar chart by the top 10, okay, all dimensions, like top 10 contributions to your the total sales quantity, right? So the combination for the 5 variables I identified. For example, like location, the city, and this bicycle type, customer description, division, and they account for most of the sales quantity. Top 10 contributors to your data sets. And then the second, you can see the the key influencers for your model. I didn't really found I have a very stronger one. Oh, but at this time I found it moderate. The prior rounds I only have like found the weak, so indicate the like the strength for the independent variable. Okay, they add this order number and is not. So if you see, so top and the business suite, when I see the demos, they have like the top 3 key influencers, okay, from your model. So ours look like slightly different. And then you have this bin like choices, so you can change like the variable based upon the different bins. They give you more drill down for the different bin variables, like this group. My understanding, like the bin is like a group. So the group of gross margin related variables, and then you have the country bin.
Just one comment. So in the previous chart where you are showing the influencer, I'm addressing to the students that when you did the rapid miner, remember you're getting the column with different colors and things. That is very similar to what you are seeing here, the influencer. And then you can pick up the one that influences the most and then do the further analysis. You can drill down on that one.
Right. Yeah, I believe because that's only some smart. When you actually run your final analysis, you can choose and pick the most powerful independent variables, right? That eliminate something like maybe the unit of measure I don't think is relevant to my study. I can completely remove it.
Yeah, and it explains you here how to interpret your charts and everything. There's a help on the left side. Yeah.
Right. So you also can have this outlier page, right? So you can check the outliers of your data. So probably you can check, are they really valid data, or you want to remove these outliers before you perform your final analysis, right? So give you some abnormal values. And finally, I really like this simulation. Even I didn't really try this a lot. The simulation is basically your planning. So for example, when I make predictions, I can change the dynamics of my variables. I want to see if for example, I want to, if I change my revenue, right, for another level, so I will put like a 20 million something, and how that simulation will change your sales quantity result. And once you change the value, you can simulate, and you can see it will give you a new number and with a percentage of change from your current situation. So you can run different combination, change the product. Like if I change to another product category to like the bicycle, so run it again, and you see that's a drop 13%, right? So that's a way I can give you some ideas to how to do the best combination for your future planning for the sales quantity, right? Customer description, airport, I can change to something. That's really something I like because for accounting, I think this will be very useful when you do a budgeting for future budgeting for different variables you are interested. So a combination of my variables and or like a budgeting for revenue, net income, or cost, or profits. Okay, anything you want. And sales quantity, right? So marketing efforts here. So I think that's the most of the what I call like smart discovery. I think probably after this, you can create something like more by your own, like more responsive or canvas or additional page. But these are the ones finished by the system. So questions? So in the assignment, I ask you to create probably a smart discovery for the sales revenue, but you select your own group of variables and you run your own analysis, right? But if you want to try anything else, okay, that's fine, completely fine, okay, as long as you practice and get some idea from this smart discovery. So I'm going to close this. Okay, just leave a little bit of time on the manual regression. I'm going to save this. Okay, so you can save to a new story. So I just call smart, so I can check it later.
So by the way, for your final exam, remember that you will be asked to compare the SAP analytics with the other analytics packages that we saw for the same data and see how they compare and contrast. And you can see that there is lots of overlap. Your thinking process is about the same, whether you use Tableau, Power BI, SAP Analytics, anything that you use. Basic foundation is still the same. So, okay.
Which one did you say we were going to be comparing SAP to? Was it all of the others or any specific one?
I can't hear. Can you jack up your volume a little bit?
Sorry. Is it better now?
Yes, very good. Go ahead.
Okay. So which one were you saying we were going to be comparing SAP to for the
with SAP Analytics with whatever you have done so far, because you have been doing lots of tools this semester. So at some point in final exam, I'll have one question. I'll ask you to put everything in broad perspective and say compare and contrast across all of them. Okay. Just start preparing, because this is not after the semester does not mean now you don't have to worry about it. You are going to carry this forward when you go to the workplace somewhere, Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Like when you compare all of these across, like you really see this structure, similar structure. So probably you can create your own software later. Right? So you combine all of them.
You never know, yeah.
Right, you never know. Yeah, you never know. Yeah, all of these new things come in the past 5 or 10 years, right? So that's just like the most recent. So finally, let's try the predictive scenarios. That's the menu. Like I'm saying, okay, I really want to try like my own way to create my predictive model. I can go from here, like it's some like a binocular, okay, like, and we can do classification, regression, and time series. I will skip the time series because we also already did something on day 1. And I will focus the demo on regression, and I will leave a classification for you, okay, to try it by yourself. That's all of my existing predictive models. So I'm going to create a new one and using the same data set. Okay, so regression. So click on that. And first you need to name your model. Okay, like I will just put today so I can recognize. A new predictive, and you can put a description as option. Okay, I want to like I'm saying maybe like class demo. Okay. And then okay. And right now I have not connected to my data yet. No. So the machine learning is you need to train, like for the data sets, they will split because this is a training data set. They will have they split the whole data, maybe like 60% as training and then 40% as validation. So we just put the original Excel, like the data sheets, and the SAC will automatically split the whole data sets into training and validation, and they will give us the final final output of the model, so we can decide where we can go from there. So click on the train, and they will give like the model building, right? So you can have a description, and I will choose my training data set will be the same global bike sale we used in the other smarter features with this one. If you want, follow the handout. So this one for the variable selection, especially for model 1, I need you to follow me exactly or follow the handouts, because when we make the prediction, the predictive data sets, you should have like the model we do the prediction must have the identical variable as the one I used for training. If you use different data structure for prediction, you wouldn't get results. Okay, so for model 1, exactly follow my variable selection, and I follow our instructor selection. For model 2, we don't use it for prediction. Okay, you can use whatever influencer you like. So I'm tuning the data sets, and my predictive goal is again the sales quantity. So we can compare with this model we built with the smart discovery, okay, from the system. And my influencer, be careful when you select, is asking you which one you want to exclude, not the which one you want to include. Okay, be careful. So when you select from here, you are removing the variable you don't want. And I'm following the instructions. So I will leave only a few variables. So I will remove, you can see I'm removing, exclude order number and order item. I leave the month, but I remove the year, the day, customer ID. I will leave the sales quantity in because that's my main interesting variable. But I will remove the revenue. Actually, I like discount, but I don't know why they didn't pick discount. Okay, for this automatic, the manual one. For me, I will pick discount to leave it in the model, but they didn't. But I will just follow. So remove this and all of the numericals, but I will leave the customer description and then leave the city, leave the sales org, but remove the country, remove the product ID, keep the product description, move. So most I exclude, only leave how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 independent variables for model 1. Then select, so confirm the selection. So it means all of the one we checked will be removed. Now you can click, you can put a description. Okay, these influencers removed, and then I will turn. And again, it will take a little moment for the system to run. Once you see the trend is not out, means it's finished. Okay, just wait a little bit. If I don't have time to do the second model, you can try it by yourself. Okay, you can continue add the second model with all of the influencers, so without removing anything. Or you want to try some variables you pick by yourself. After, as a brief summary, the purpose after we finish the output, after they build this training model, we can apply this model to our original data set to test the validity of the regression model. So see here, I always have a problem to find the report. Let me just remove. See here, don't feel, if you see your results, just use refresh. Okay, that's what I found out. I couldn't really see my outputs directly, but if you refresh your browser, I believe it will really show, and that's my output. So it give you a RMSE, and I think this is also something a little bit different from the real business suite, because they have some they call robustness percentage. I don't have that one. I only have a prediction confidence percentage. So you understand that, right? So it means when I use this model to predict other data, I have 99% confident. value, like level is very high, right? So like almost 99% is very high. So the higher of this percentage means we have more confidence on applying the model to the prediction, okay, to the real data. And then this is the training model, how many, the difference between your training model and the validation of your target statistic. And now you see your key influencers. And I have 5. The top one is a product description, right? It contribute almost 50%, 54% of the dependent variable variations. So 50% of the variation of the dependent variable can be explained by the product description. And the time series power is 15%. And then customer description, 15% sales work, and finally the location. Because I only picked 5 variables. If you have more, they will give you more, like the sequence, right? Like the ranking of the different influencers. And this is a graphical showing the like the pattern for the prediction model, like the trajectory validation model, and the max and minimum errors during the validation. So let me show you how you apply to the prediction data sets, right? After then you can later add your second model with all of the influencers. So if you want to add another one, just click on here. So you don't need to close, save, and come back. Okay, if you want to create another one, and click on here, and they will give the model, like a second model, and you can see the different outputs. But I'm going to apply to the original, like the original data sets to see the prediction power. Okay, apply. And then can automatically that detecting my original data set. If you want to use it for prediction, which I already have, I can point to your prediction data set, right? For that one, I don't have sales quantity at all. I want to make a new prediction. For this original, I already have the sales quantity, but I want to see how the predictive value is different from my actual value. So global bike, then the replicated column, I want to pick all of the 5, like the ones we already have, right? The sales quantity. If you want to have more, that's fine. Like revenue, something, I can pick that also. Customer description, I believe the city, sales work, and the product description, division, and that's probably the things. And then for the statistic, I want to include the predictive value. So how that different from my original sales quantity. And then save your output. And they will save your output to a new data set. So after they run the application, we need to go back to the file to find this new data set. Also, I will just call new output. 22, and then apply. Again, it will run a few moments. How I can know it's ready? You can now see this apply function is grayed out whenever it comes to be active. When that means you can apply to another model, means the prior running is finished. Or you can go to your, like now I think it's ready. So I will go to my data sets. You see this new output, right? So which is generated from applying the model. So I will open that. And the sample, okay, that's fine. We just take a brief look. Because we didn't pick all of the, those many variables, so we can see everything in one page. Did you see here? This predicted. This is our main prediction value based upon the inputs. And our original sales quantity is in the first column, right? So first row, actual value is 4, the prediction is 5. Second row, actual value is 3, and prediction is 5 also. But the third row, actual equal to prediction. See these variations. I believe from here you can construct a story, compare only the sales quantity and predictive value to have a summary for how powerful or how accurate the prediction with your original. Then you decide, okay, I may revise my original model because my main purpose is use this regression to predict new data. So accurate I adjusted this prediction model, the more accurate my prediction or my planning will be, right? So that's a way like you can come back to your model to make any adjustment as needed. So that's a way you can try by yourself, because the time you can try a complete second model, third model is up to you until you probably found the best or like accurate model you like, then you can use it for your final prediction or forecasting purpose. And if you download, so I'm just close this briefly. And when you do the prediction, I can show you a very simple. So when you make the prediction, use your model 1, the one we just created, and apply to this data set. I think I already did something. This is your prediction. So in the in Blackboard, you can download the prediction. I only have 2 rows of data. So if you click on your after import and open your prediction data set, you see you have the variables exactly like your model 1. So you cannot use model 2 to make a prediction because I don't have all of the variables available, but only for model 2. I'm sorry, model 1. So I only have 2 rows of data. If you scroll down to the right and see, I don't have any sales quantity yet, right? So I'm leaving you to use your model 1, apply to here to make a prediction what should be my sales quantity based upon my value inputs. I believe when you run it correctly, it should be 7. You can take a note. So that's like a check number. So after you run your table, create your model 1, and then apply to this prediction data set, the sales quantity for both should be 7. I run this before, I got it already, okay, as a check number. And imagine if you are the manager, okay, that will be your prediction for these 2 type of bicycles, like next month or next year. Okay, that you can use it for your further planning purpose. So that's like how nicely I like this application. Okay, like, but you can have imagine if you have a full prediction data set, you can apply your model to do like a planning for your whole data set. Later, when you run your own classification scenarios, it will be similar. First, I have a classification data set you can use. It's called online shopping intent. So that's like so after a potential customer checked our website, right? So surfed, and how likely, depending on their surfing like features, like the time they spent, the different product categories. So based upon a group of variables, we want to see did this customer made a purchase or not. When you check your classification file, I have a revenue column. So the revenue column is they probably put true or false, or yes or no. So yes means the customer finally made a purchase. No means they left and didn't buy anything from us. So is a binomial variable, yes or no, or true or false. So you make a prediction, you make this revenue column as your target variable. So yes or no. Then choose your own group of independent variables as running the model. So run the classification model and then apply the model to your original data set. So compare the predictive value, any difference between your predictive value with your original revenue choices. Okay, yes or no. So intention means, oh, did they make the purchase or not? I don't have a prediction data set for that classification, but you can create something by yourself if you like, right? So I just made up two rows of data without the revenue field. Okay, I want to use my model to make a prediction. I think it's kind of fun, but I will leave you to explore all of those availabilities. So right on time, I think Dr. decides that's what I want to do today. I don't think we need more demos. So we finished almost everything I want to cover. But if you really want something else, when you start to do it, but let me know. Okay, for the second day, need any additional demos or questions or anything when you do the assignments, please let me know. So any questions or comments? Or from you, Dr. Desai?
Yeah, no, I think I will have them do the assignment that you have posted and let them do this, and they'll submit it. And while they are doing that one, if they have any questions, then they can approach you. They can email you. When you email, you want to put your name and class so that she will know who is contacting her, because Dr. Wang has other classes to teach. So you want to make sure when you talk to her, you identify yourself. But go and practice this. These are really useful. They are very practical. They are very, you can apply it anywhere, immediately in your job. You may not use it, but this you can carry it with you. I strongly recommend that you take this seriously. I think it's pretty good experience. And mind you that the SAP, we are the member. Our university is member of University Education Alliance group. Then we pay the SAP $8,000 every year, and they provide us with all kinds of resources. And because if we don't do that, then um, these are not free software. These are something, even though they are open source, but still you incur expense, if you want to use it. But they provide you all this training material, all the instruction things that Dr. Wang has shared with you. Those are was paid to create the teaching documents, and those are coming from the practical examples. You have seen that number of records that you saw on your data file, the Excel files. They're like hundreds and thousands of records, and those are the actual thing you are using to do your visualization and so on. Now, the part two of the instructions that Dr. Wang covered today, we do that in predictive analytics course, which is MIS 688. So this will be a good transition from here if you move on to MIS 688 course. So they are very, very well lined up for you. But you really have to work really hard on this area first, this 686 first, so that you can transit well into the other one. So this is just like taking 45 minutes of piano lesson and then you work 8 hours and come back and learn new things. Take it that way. Okay. The more you practice, the better it is. And you've seen that Dr. Wang also, sometimes you forget something because you don't memorize this. You have to understand it. And once you understand it, then you can always come out of anything, any hitches that you come across. When I work on it, I forget many times. and you forget because you don't memorize this thing. You have to understand the concepts here. Okay. All right. I think that's
Yeah.
those are my comments. Just for a few